Lovelies, today we'll be talking about some changes that are coming to the channel. I know I'm only a small channel with not very many subscribers, but I've been given a lot of advice in the past and more recently about how to grow the channel, which I've chosen to ignore. So I'm going to relay to you some of that advice, how things work, at least from the insights of people who are more into all of this than I am. So it might be useful for your channels and it might reflect on this channel. It will help explain some of the changes and things I'm going to make as I move forward. Things like search engine optimization, tools like VidIQ, thumbnails, content, avoiding being demonetized, all of that sort of thing. So let's get into it. Now look, I do YouTube wrong in a lot of ways. I've known I'm doing YouTube wrong for some time, and I've been willing and accepting to take the hit because YouTube is just a side gig, a supplementary gig, a supportive gig to the rest of the stuff I do, you know, writing, game design, editing, gig economy stuff, consulting, all of that kind of thing, right? It's separate, it's different, it's supplementary, and a large part of the reason I do YouTube is just purely for my own satisfaction and as a kind of therapy, because it makes me get up in the morning and be presentable. Yes, this is presentable. I know I look like Hobo Gandalf, but still. You know, and I get to talk to people, because working for yourself at home, you know, you're silent most of the day, other than maybe conversing with a cat or the postman or going to the village shop or whatever, but by and large it's a fairly lonely existence, and I'm fine with that for the most part. But socialization is important, and this is a kind of socialization, even if it's one-sided. It keeps my verbal skills up and going, so I don't devote as much time to the channel as I should if I wanted to make a career out of it. I do it for reasons that aren't about growth and aren't about making money on YouTube or getting sponsors or whatever else. I do it wrong. Now, one of the main ways that I do YouTube wrong, according to all the advice I've seen or that I've been given, is that my channel is all over the place, right? One day you'll get a video about politics, another day you'll get a review of a game, another day you'll get a diss rap or a comedy skit or whatever else. There is no theme to my channel other than me, right, and my viewpoints, and it's kind of holistic, I suppose. What you're getting is me, what interests me, and that's how I work too. I work on things that interest me, things that pique my interest. If I'm writing a game, it's on the themes that are grabbing my attention at the time, and I find it very hard more lately to write to order, to do what other people want me to do rather than the things that I'm interested in, I want to do, the things that enthuse me. So yeah, that's what you're getting. So one of the big pieces of advice is to have your channel on one topic, and if you do talk about other topics, to split your channel up and have different channels for different topics. That's probably the biggest thing that affects my channel, and I do not intend to change my behavior in terms of what kind of things I upload to this channel, at least for the most part. It's going to continue to be a potpourri, a hodgepodge of stuff that is all over the place. But that's a big part of why a lot of analysts and so on think my channel doesn't grow, because people who are interested in games will subscribe, and then I upload a video about politics and they're like, oh, this isn't what I want, and they unsubscribe again. Of course, the unsubscription bug that YouTube refuses to admit exists is another big part of the problem here. So if you want to maximize the effect of your channel, if I wanted to maximize the effect of my channel, I would have to split it up into different things. So I'd have a channel for games, a channel for politics, a channel for comedy, a channel for the depression flogging stuff. Instead, what I do is I create playlists. It would be nice if YouTube would let people subscribe to playlists rather than a whole channel, but it's just not going to happen. Okay, so that's kind of like a broad overview of my channel and the major thing that I could do to make it more successful, but which I won't do. Okay, but for you, it might be different. So I have been using the tool VidIQ for some time, and I have been paying for it in an attempt to grow the channel, and it did work very well for a while, and then my channel growth slacked off immensely. It just practically ground to a halt for a long time. I'd gain some subs when I uploaded a video, then I'd lose the same amount in rather short order. So I was basically treading water for a long time, and I felt like I'd learned everything I was going to learn from using VidIQ. Yeah, if you want to grow your channel to an extent, I think it's definitely worth paying for. But what's prompted this video is that when I decided to unsubscribe from their service, they contacted me not wanting to lose a subscriber, I guess, and gave me a one-on-one channel audit, which is where some but not all of this advice is coming from. Now, YouTube is an ever-changing, ever-shifting landscape. You are never secure. I think this is a big part of what leads to a lot of mental health issues for full-time YouTubers. None of their decisions are transparent. Everything's opaque. Nobody knows how the algorithm works. Even when they tell you something, it doesn't necessarily work like that in practice, because it's a big complex ecosystem with a lot of human elements. Yeah, it's just tricky. So this advice will probably not be much use in the next 3 to 6 months. Yeah, they seem to have ramped up the amount of changes, and they are being more communicative to an extent. But the big thing is that the first 30 to 40 seconds of your video have become massively important. So you should describe what your video is about, like I did at the beginning of this, and you should try to cram in as many SEO words, search engine optimization words, as many things that people are searching for or might be searching for into that first 30 or 40 seconds as you can, because they'll be scanning your video and they'll be picking up on those words. So when people are searching, it's going to be at least partially the things that you say. So don't swear within the first 30 or 40 seconds of your video either. Don't mention anything controversial in the first 30 or 40 seconds of your video. I mean, that could be where you put your preamble asking people to like, subscribe, or whatever. It's tedious, and it might put some people off the video, but it seems to be the least worst option. I was cited an example where someone's playing puts up recordings for a particularly violent video game, right? So they put that up and they were getting practically no hits whatsoever. Just nothing. It wasn't catching on at all compared to a lot of their other videos. So they took that video, removed it, added an extra 30 or 40 seconds just of them humming at the start of the video, re-uploaded it, and that got a bunch of hits. So clearly the bots, the algorithms, are picking up on the content of the video, not just what you're saying. So if there's a lot of on-screen violence or whatever in the first 30 or 40 seconds, you're screwed. If you swear in the first 30 to 40 seconds, you're screwed. If you mention a controversial subject or a recent mass shooting or something, for example, that may still screw me later on in the video, but you need to avoid that in the first 30 or 40 seconds. Cram in as many keywords as possible and be clear about what the topic of the video is early on. And you should mention these search engine terms throughout your script if at all possible. So a lot of what I do is fairly off the cuff. I might have like bullet points or whatever, or I might just go back and edit out where I'm waffling too much, that sort of thing. But if you do script, or if you do plan ahead of time when you make your videos, plan to include these terms as early as possible and as much as possible. Other things you can do to increase your searchability are you can use different descriptive text for the video everywhere that you get an option to do that. So in your thumbnail, it's a good idea to have text because the bots read that and that helps index your searchability. So you can put certain terms in there. In your title, you can do that. Titles are allowed to be quite long on YouTube, but you should front load it with the more common terms and so on, so that's the first thing people see. That's also what the bot picks up on first. And in your descriptive text, add a short description at the beginning, and again front load that with your SEO. But you should try and hit different targets in your thumbnail, your title, and the description, so you can describe the same video 3 different ways, right? So you might put a clickbaity title in the thumbnail, a slightly more explanatory title in the title, and then talk around the subject in the descriptive text, for example. That would be one way of doing it. You can put longer titles, and there's 2 schools of thought that I've heard on this, whether you should use the title space as much as possible to put in as much search terms as possible, or whether you should keep it short and punchy. With your thumbnail, it's going to have to be short and punchy, so I would personally tend towards longer descriptions in the actual title, and again, like let's say, front load it with the search engine stuff. Tags do not matter as much as they used to matter, but if you do use a tool like VidIQ, it can suggest tags, but you don't have to use them as tags. If you've got really kind of popular terms that are being hit up a lot at the moment, you can then put those into your descriptive text or your title or your thumbnail or wherever. Tags do matter, it's just not anywhere near as much. One thing you can do with certain tools like VidIQ is that you can compare your videos against currently well performing videos and then match your tags to them, and that means you're more likely to be recommended to people who are viewing that original video or to be queued up next. So that can help. Spellings. In the tags and elsewhere, you should try and mix spellings. I mean, there's common typos and errors and things that you can add into your tags and so on that'll help. One big thing I think is to use both UK and US spellings. I've certainly found that myself, where a topic includes, words that do or do not have a U, depending whether you use UK English or US English or Canadian or Australian or New Zealand or whatever, then putting both in is good. So if you're talking about armor, the American spelling, armor, the British spelling, right, then you'll get more hits because people can search for either, and you might get a more specific serving up to more people from using that. So moving on from the videos, say you put up a video and it gets demonetized or whatever else. Personally speaking, I find that something like 75% of the videos that I appeal, the appeal gets upheld, the video gets restored. Of course, it's too late to pick up on much of the money, and having taken that hit, your searchability and the amount that your video is shown to people is reduced while it's demonetized. But it does seem like it's always worth doing, and there's some suggestion that the human overrides are helping to train the algorithm so that it should get more accurate in future. Of course, I only appeal the things that I genuinely think should still be monetizable and so on. Sometimes I say or do things in a video that I can kind of understand why they would demonetize it, even if I don't agree with how it's done, so I leave those. So my 75% overturn rate is, it's a qualified thing. It's not that 75% of all videos would get overturned, it's just the ones where I think there is a genuine case. But there doesn't seem to be any real rhyme or reason to it, and I do wonder sometimes if they're farming out these checks to big data processing farms in like India or wherever, and that Hindu or Muslim notions of modesty, good behavior, whatever, which can be a lot more strict than they are in the West. I wonder sometimes if that's what's affecting some of these decisions, which would be a shame. Obviously I think you should have it within the the cultural norms that your company, that your videos are situated in. So it would make a lot more sense to have American, Canadian, British, New Zealand, Australian people doing these checks. That's just speculation of my part though, but by and large it's worth appealing, and it may be helping to train the algorithm so it doesn't make the same mistakes in the future. Now the second really big thing that I can do to improve the success of my channel is not to live stream on it. Now that sounds weird because live stream is a big kind of growth thing, still is a big growth thing, and has been over the last few years, right? You would think that YouTube would be looking to encourage you in live streaming, but having just done away with Hangouts and various other issues, it seems not. So when you live stream, you tend to only have a rather small audience. It goes into a slightly separated ecosystem to uploaded videos, and streams tend not to get the same long tail model of hits as other videos do. Very few people want to click on a 5-hour live stream to watch it when it's not live. You know, that interactivity is the thing that people want. So a lot of live streamed content, you know, in your back catalogue can drag your channel down, and if you live stream regularly, that can drag your channel down. So this is the recommendation I'm probably going to follow. I am going to separate out my live streams into a second channel, which I'll inform you about once I've got it all set up. And I will be removing most of the live streams from this channel, except the ones where I do interviews or discuss things with people. Those are going to stay on here for now, but any new ones will be on the new live stream channel. And any game streaming I do will be on the new live stream channel. So that is probably responsible for a huge amount of the hits that I've taken. I began live streaming more regularly with Fuck This Gay Earth, and now the morning after the night before, every Monday. Been doing that for a while now, and I also started streaming games more often in the evening, which seems to have had a deleterious effect on my ability to grow. My searchability has caused the algorithm to say, oh, people aren't watching a lot of the videos this channel puts out, its live streams aren't that popular. Okay, so your channel gets deranked. So hopefully moving the live streams onto a second channel will help a great deal there, though apparently it can take a month, 2 months, 3 months before your channel starts to recover from you moving live streaming to a second channel and removing old live streams from your main channel. So that's going to be happening there. The last bit of advice I've had that was really useful to anybody except me was about sharing. So, you know, you put up a video and then you want to share it to social media to encourage people to come and watch it. And it used to be that I would get a lot of hits from Twitter coming through to my channel in terms of views. I would get a lot of hits from Facebook coming through. That has tailed off a massive amount. Facebook is barely on speaking terms with YouTube these days, and Facebook is pushing its own video content. So when you share a link from YouTube to Facebook, it's just not going to get served to people as much. And that's certainly what I see in my own metrics. Whether Twitter is doing the same thing is a bit more controversial. It's a bit hard to work out because I lost my original Twitter account with 5,000 plus followers, as you will recall, because I criticised a joke by a certain celebrity who shall remain nameless, and turned it back on them. But yeah, so it's a bit hard to pick out, but I do think since I've had my new Twitter account, I've noticed that I'm not getting as many hits through as I would be expecting, and I suspect it's Twitter kind of downrating, downlisting, not serving up things that it considers to be spam, like links to videos and so on. Apparently you can get around this to an extent if you post the link to your video and the thumbnail to your video in a Twitter post. That should get around the issue. The other thing that a lot of people do is that they don't actually link to their videos, and rather they just say, oh, I just put out a video for this as a tweet, and then they might put the link in replies if someone asks where it is, or they've got their YouTube channel link in their bio or wherever else. And for some people that seems to work as a way of channeling them to their videos. So who knows? I was doing quite well from Minds, getting people to watch my videos from there using boosts and so on, but that's declined recently as well. I think all of these social networks are not playing well with others for one reason or another, either considering things spam or people having, pay to opt out of advertisements or boosted content or whatever else. So it's just not serving it up. And the loss of the automatic posting to Steam hasn't helped either, but there you go. So what I am going to do then is I'm going to steadfastly ignore a lot of this advice, the little things about the early portion of the video, the SEO in the script, the different thumbnail, title, description, and so on. That I can do easily, but the main thing is that I'll be starting a second channel just purely for live streams. So yeah, you can look forward to that. I'll let you know when it's set up and you can subscribe. Zang! Fucking algorithms. Grim gave a big yawn and settled down to sleep. And of course, when Grim goes to sleep, all of his friends go to sleep too. The people on the internet were just text on a screen, the collectibles were just cheap plastic tat, and the books were just elaborate sandwiches made of wood and paper. Even Grim himself, once he was asleep, was just an old saggy goth twat, baggy and a bit loose at the seams, and nobody loved him.